I get a preview or not?
Nope.
Nope, okay.
Patty, what are we doing first? Are we doing assigned?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the candid portraits.
Yep.
Okay.
Without the subject note.
Right, candid portraits. There's what candid is.
Something, no.
An arrow.
An arrow, okay.
Word.
There we go.
Flying candy.
Okay. Well, as criteria goes, it seems like he's seeing the camera, so I'm not sure how, that it really fits the criteria well. And there's some things about this that are disturbing to me. I like from his right ear to the right of him, or left of him. I don't like what looks like, I don't know, a gutter pipe or something, and behind him, and the cross is sort of cut off. If you're going to cut, either show all the cross or more of the cross, less of the cross. Usually portraits are better done in a vertical format, and I think you would have gotten a tighter, more compelling picture. What I like about this greatly is how sharp it is, and the very good selective focus that was used. So it blurs out the background, but unfortunately still the background is a little bit distracting on the left, 11.
Remember, we're using,
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
we're using a
I'm
30,
sorry.
not a 15.
22.
Nap time at Mallory Square.
This fits the subject matter well. Very good candid. The bright background in the upper right corner is a little bit, it's drawing my eye out away from him a little bit. I don't know if a tighter cropping would have worked, would have helped. It looks like it could have helped. Or even darkening down it a little bit more. It looks like the color saturation was really bumped up on his face, although I guess he could have that rare of a face. But it's a very nice capture. 25. Really fits the assigned subject well.
A tense moment for a street clown.
Wow, this is so close. It's a beautiful, beautiful composition, really stunning composition. Perfect, perfect color. Really tells a story, but the clown's not really sharp. He's very, maybe I need an eye check, but to me, he's not sharp enough, and you gotta have sharpness, especially when you're shooting portraits in the eyes. So close and yet a miss. 20, because of the sharpness. The sharpness is on his hand, and it should be on his face.
Away for the day.
Well, I had to look for the figure. Couple things. Again, to fitting this into the assigned subject, he's so small it almost doesn't fit the title of assigned subject, because he's so small in the image. And that, and he's pretty much dead centered. It's a great environmental portrait, but you don't need quite that much environment in it. You could have zoomed in cut off the bottom and zoomed in with a longer lens and cut off the bottom third. Get in tight on the water, him, and maybe some mountains in the background. And really would have had a stunning fishing image. He's too small to have an impact. And I can't give an impact because of it being a landscape, because it's in an assigned subject 21.
Spring is here.
Oh. I bet that bird knew he was being photographed. He's looking right at you. Don't you dare. Oh, cute. Oh, it's a beautiful bird picture. Absolutely gorgeous as far as sharpness and, say composition. But again, how it fits the assigned subject, I think this is more of a nature photograph. It doesn't fit the subject that well. 22.
German Guard. That does not look good, Patty.
That clown one looked pixelated too.
Yeah, but Patty, you think this one loaded good?
I don't know.
Because I don't remember it being that,
Yeah, it's very pixelated.
The clown one I could understand because the focus was on the clown's hand.
we've been having some trouble with some of our images loading. And they look good on the web page. They look good. Like this one looked fine on the web page.
Why don't
But
we, maybe
are,
we can.
are the people uploading them to the proper dimensions?
Yeah?
Yes. Mhm.
They are, you sure?
Yeah, I don't, yeah, because sometimes we'll ask them to re-upload them.
Okay.
It happens during the download process for some reason.
For some
Maybe what we
reason.
could do is email
Yeah.
the image to him and then he can judge it later.
Yep.
Would you mind doing that, Mike?
No, I don't, because,
Yeah, because this one, I remember it,
You think
Yeah,
that was
Okay.
very-
Yeah, I saw it before. and it
Okay.
was really good, sharp.
that's not what bothered me, was unless the pixelation caused a real lack of sharpness. Which
All
could,
right.
it
was
could.
very-
it is.
Yeah.
Because it,
Okay, yeah, I
don't
can
think the
rejudge
clown was
those two.
pixelated though.
Yeah, it was.
Do you think it was
Yeah.
pixelated? I thought it
I'm
was.
more than happy to rejudge it.
Okay, we'll just.
You might go up or down, though.
We got a couple, I know this one wasn't.
Same thing?
Yeah.
Same issue. And again, the assigned subject is, candid, and these people sure look like they know they're being photographed. So again,
no, it's not the
fitting the subject
projector.
matter to the
Yeah, we had this problem, not
the
the last
photograph,
competition, but the competition.
I think
it's
it
kind
was.
of nice the way they're separated
Something
out,
about when
the
they're
depth of
uploading,
field, how they stand out
They
among
just
all the
fall
crowd.
and we don't know.
But I've got to knock it down in points because of it's not candid. So I'm going to give this a 24.
Should we keep the score or have him,
Keep the score, but then resend them to me if you want,
okay.
and I'll rescore them.
Well, I'm not gonna, there's no way we'll remember if there's
Yeah.
a score in it.
Oh,
It'd be
okay.
easier not to have a score and then we'll just
Okay.
send you all the zeros.
Okay,
In fact, we might want to go back and zero out the clown
Okay.
too. I don't think, there we go.
That looks pixelated.
it's a low-res image, it might sharpen up nicely. That could be the problem.
Okay, so all the ones that don't have zeros, we can send you.
And if it does, it's going to go way up in score.
Caught in the rain.
This fits the subject well. And I like the treatment, I like the selective focus, the almost lack of color in the rest of the image compared to the main subject. This is a 26.
The Red Witch.
But it fits all the category well. Composition is good because it tells a story. If you look, all the elements fit. 27.
Rhythm method.
Okay. The story is down below. This needs cropping. It needs tight cropping on the drummer and the little boy. You don't need the people in the background watching them. The image is right in the middle. In fact, where's that laser? To the enemy. And depending on what size file, what size camera you have, file size wise, you can crop this down right like this and it'll make a much, much stronger picture. 22.
I found a happy man.
This is a tough shot to take. I might crop this. In fact, I know I would. Because the real brightness of the sunlight on his hand and on his pants is really pulling my eye away from his face where the story is down here. I would crop it. I might even make it a square. I'd crop it right about there. And I think it would really be a much stronger picture. 23.
The age of wonder.
This is beautiful. Somebody must know I have a little grandchild at this age. I wouldn't mind calling this picture my own. This gets a 29. It's tough to get a perfect 30 from you.
Drummers.
Okay. As a storytelling thing, it's sort of interesting because you got the street sign and you got the drummers. But you got to watch out when you have writing in a picture because your brain is trained to immediately go and look at the writing and away from what's the center, supposed to be the center of interest. Because I want to go, got to read that. That and the fact that your foreground drummer is not sharp. Your sharpness is, your focus spot is somewhere in here, and so you got some focus, enough sharpness here, but you don't have enough here. You got to be very careful when you're shooting a line like this. You really got to stop down, and you got to mainly override your focus point and put it like about a third of the way in, about on this person, so that you can carry him and the rest of them with your depth of field. So it's lacking enough depth of field for sharpness in there. It fits the subject. I'm not sure if I'd take out the sign or not. 22. You might think about just shooting one of these people. I'll tell you, it would have been interesting. Then you wouldn't have the depth of field problems.
Thoughts of
Another
a
little
toddler.
girl. Oh my goodness, you guys are killing me. Not quite as strong as the other one, but close. I like the blurry background, the bokeh, the bokeh of the background, the use of a selective focus. This real bright edge bothers me a little bit, but not tremendously, but it should be taken down or cropped just a hair tighter. In fact, you might crop it like this, and then just take off that little bit right there, if you can. And probably you can't darken that enough where you show it, so you crop it out. 27. Now, if you get a little girl and a puppy, I'm a goner. That gets to 30.
Busy at work.
It fits the subject well as far as the candid goes. It's direct on camera flash, which is a little bit snapshot wise. Available light, or bouncing a flash, or Actually turning your flash backwards and bouncing it off the wall behind you works a lot better. Then you get a soft, natural looking light. I like what she's doing. Again, you don't need this here. You can crop in tight. You guys got to learn to crop a little tighter. And in the digital competition, you can crop like crazy before it starts to show. 22.
Deborah.
You know, I'm looking at this and it's a little disconcerting to me because it's somewhat of a formal portrait, even though she's not looking at the camera at the moment. She may be looking at another photographer. It's somewhat having to do with the way the rendition and the light on her face is falling, the darkness under the eyes and everything else, which has a lot to do with it being a candid, I know. I think this could be, I think a nice, strong, soft focus vignetting would really help this picture a lot. 25.
Playing with a ray of light.
Oh my God, you guys are killing me. All right, well, you know, this one's easy to make a critique of. This whole half right here can be cut right off. And then you get rid of this really distracting highlight here. Crop it right there, and you gain 2 points, 27. Oh, it gets even better.
Nah,
Yeah.
let's skip that one.
No problem again?
Yeah, I know that one's sharp.
Okay, good, because I'd like to see this sharp.
Tanya Tucker.
Boy, she's looking old. Oh my God, I wouldn't have recognized her. Oh. Yeah, it's a candid, but it's I'm guessing, it could be a sound check. That's what it looks like, a sound check. I don't think it's, but it could be an actual concert. The background's a little bit distracting here. And yeah, it's you know, I've done a moderate amount of these, not a tremendous amount like Art Becker has, but you try not to get the mic in the mouth kind of shot. You try to get them a little bit away from the mic, get their face away from the mic. Technically, it's correct exposure, it's sharp, but there's a little bit of a distraction back here. I'd like to see a little bit shallower depth of field to get rid of these things or darken them down. 23.
Smile.
Ah. Wow. I like a lot, there's a lot I like about this picture. I love the colorful native costume. It truly is a candid moment. You can just tell on the expression on her face. But there's a lot of things going on here and here that is bothersome to me. Because of where the angle you're shooting at and stuff, you probably couldn't do anything about. And it's a shame that you couldn't get her, like, just come forward a little bit so she'd have something solid like this behind her. 24.
Lost in thought.
You know, this is somewhat similar to The Fisherman, but here it works. Even though she's so small in the image, she doesn't know she's being photographed, so it's truly candid. She may be watching the train going over the trestle. This adds a nice balance, in a sense, to this here. 26.
I'll keep your hat dry.
Okay, here's something that somebody really cropped in on, because I can see the graininess here. I want to say that all this space on this side of her is wasted. She's looking off this way. You can make this a vertical. And I think you have a much stronger, better picture, except I think you've already cropped the heck out of it to get to this point. If you cropped it more, it might fall apart. 22.
The lawyer.
I find this hard to believe that this is a candid, but it's phenomenally good. Great black and white. This gets the 30. It really tells a story. It's great, great tonality in it.
The Irish stepper, and that one doesn't look right.
Okay, then let's judge it later.
A Pirate's Life.
Wow. This is very good too. Incredibly good. I'm a big believer in cropping or darking down where if you need it, because he's almost too centered. You could trim just a little bit off here, and definitely I want this darkened down on this side. From here over, I want it way darkened down, 100%. Because I want the light coming in here, highlighting his face, which it is, and I like the way his face is reproducing, and I love the texture in the clouds, the way they're being reproduced. I would even think about going, no, you can't go down anymore. Well, you might. Near miss, as far as being a perfect score, 28.
Making a Living.
I could get into a long psychological talk about shooting down on people. It has psychological importance. In some ways, when you shoot down on a person like this, it's psychologically, it's putting them down. Psychologically, it's demeaning. Ideally, you should be at eye level or even shooting up at them if you want to make them look more dramatic. But the down angle does have the advantage of it makes your background clean. And this is certainly a candid 27.
Concrete Bliss.
Okay, I like it, but there's one thing that bothers me. I got to tell you this right here. It's attracting my eye for whatever reason, and you couldn't do anything about it. I'm sure. It'd be impossible nearly to take out in Photoshop. You might darken it down and unsharpen it a little to make it less prominent. It's an interesting story with the hand here, and so I'm going here, which is the story, which is great. But this sort of interferes with it, gets in the way of it somehow. And that makes it a 26.
Clowning around.
Everything was done right here. Selected focus, vignetting, color balance, cropping in tight, 29.
Curiosity, a child's greatest possession.
You guys knew I was coming. It's close, but it's a miss. You don't need quite as much on the bottom here. And the really bright rocks around him are really pulling my eye away from him. I want the picture to be here and here. And you can do that in post-processing. It's also heavily vignetted. I mean, I'm a fan of vignetting, but this is really darkened down to almost a tunnel effect, which is, I think, too strong for the character of the photo. 23.
Village elder.
Really excellent. The only thing is, and I say only thing is, this is very bright. And I'm wondering again, even crop it out, make it a really tall thing. And because boy, that's pulling my eye right out the picture. It's going right there, boom. Either darken it way, way down, like 200%, or crop it right out. And you would have had a dynamite photo here. It's still excellent, 28. Really, but again, you know, I would change that score to 27. I'll tell you why. It doesn't, he knows he's being photographed, so it doesn't fit the category as well as it should, the assigned subject. So it's a 27 because of that.
Pondering his fate.
Pixelated.
Wow, that's a lot.
Is, and you guys are sure that this is a software problem?
Or a download problem or
A
something.
download, because I could judge it as is. It still get a very high score. I like the technique of the high key vignetting and the sepia toning on it. I'll give you my comments and I won't score it because we'll wait to see how it comes over the net. I like how it's vignetted, the high key vignetting. Because it's reminiscent of a really old faded photograph. And for all those reasons, it really works. The technique really works with the subject matter. How's that? And we can go on. I won't score it.
It happens.
You know, I have shot rodeos where I have bulls doing something similar, but I've never seen that in a bird quite so dramatically. Oh my. Again, yeah, in a nature competition, this I think would score much higher. In an assigned composition of candid, it's pretty hard to fit that quotes candid doesn't always being photographed thing when you're talking about something like this. He may or may not have been aware of you taking his picture. He may be making a statement to you. Um, 23. The sky could be darkened down, it could have been vignetted more.
Girl in the rain.
Oh, this is so close. It's 29 out of 30, and I'll tell you why it doesn't get to 30 status. This pole's too bright. It needs to be darkened down. That's it. only negative thing in this photo, 29, great shot.
Homeless in Key West.
Yeah. When I crop this out with my hand, the picture improves greatly. This is really pulling me out. It's okay to shoot tall and narrow, to not go with the 8x10 format or the 8.5 by 11 or 3x4 actually. 2x3, sorry, 2x3 format of 35 millimeter. It fits the category moderately well. It just needs the cropping. It suffers because of the cropping of it, or lack of cropping. 24.
Break time.
This is a tough one to judge. I want to say it's a little bit too busy. I guess is my gut reaction to it. Because I got this to look at, I got this to look at, I got this to look at, and then I got the subject matter here, which is this part here. And because of that, you need to simplify. 24.
That one looks
This
terrible.
one looks like a problem. I don't, it's so degraded as far as quality goes, I don't want to make any comments because I can't tell.
Is that the last one?
Yeah.
Just go to the
Okay.
next one, just to make sure.
Oh, okay.
All right,
Now I see.
now you guys know what scored well. Little kids,
Yeah.
they won my heart, they have my heart. Although this little girl did really well too. Now, you know, again, just so people know, judging is somewhat subjective in the sense of what is interesting as subject matter. And composition is somewhat subjective. There are technical issues that are, you know, exposure, sharpness, those kinds of things aren't. But subject matter is. So you might get an old curmudgeon up here who hates little kids. And those things that scored 28, 29, and 30 may score, you know, 19. But with me and my love for them, they scored very high. Whoever those people were that entered those, they were lucky. I was the judge. Although I scored that one very high too.
Click on it.
Yeah, you can double click, yeah.
So now what do I gotta do, pick one?
30.
Yeah, well, no, that was a 30, Jan, I think that.
That's the one that got the 30. You know, I gotta tell you, there's a very famous photographer that the really old people or real classic black and white photographers may know of, named Ralph Gibson. If you don't know him, Google his name, Ralph Gibson. He did a whole series like this in black and white in the early 60s, and he did it of priests. And this picture reminds me of it.
Excellent. And then next group, up at the top, next group. There you go. Oh, there's only one.
Only one, yeah.
Tony?
Great nature. Put it into the wildlife competition at the Can-Am Expo. It'll do really well.
Candy.
I don't know if it was you or the makeup artist. I think
She
it's more
was
the
just-
makeup artist.
She was just staring off
Yeah,
into
but
space.
there's something about her skin tone I don't like, and I think it's the makeup artist. Who
could
made her up?
be, they might have been all made up before.
Yeah,
they
but I don't like the way they did her.
Well, I will not tell her that. And it could have been how I processed it too.
It's too harsh, it could be.
Too harsh.
Yeah, it could be you bumped up the saturation. What software did you use? What software do you use?
Adobe Creative Cloud.
Yeah, but do you use Lightroom or? Okay.
Not
Doesn't,
too
it doesn't
much.
matter. Thing to watch out for, if you bump up saturation in Adobe Camera Raw, you're gonna get this kind of skin tone. If you bump up vibrancy, that'll increase the color, but you won't get this reddish skin tone.
I don't like portraits.
Yeah, but I think the saturation was too high,
Okay.
either in shooting or in post-processing, and that caused that very reddish
Yes.
skin tone. And the way to avoid that is to actually maybe even cut back a little bit on saturation and increase the colors by using vibrancy, because vibrancy protects the skin tones.
Okay. I'll try that.
Mike Burchell.
Good candid. Good candid. Real honest moment.
229. First one.
Gail Winslow. And who's the second one?
If you leave this up much higher, longer, it's gonna go up in score.
Leave it on.
Oh,
And Kathy Welty.
I like the treatment, the selective color. It works. Sometimes, very rarely does it work. It does work here.
Yep, should be.
So now we're going to general. That's it. General competition.
Yep.
Any subject, Michael.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can be black and white, can be color, can be any
Do you need a
subject.
break?
No, I'm fine. I'm glad I got the laser pointer.
Judge.
Just go down to.
Oh, bottom,
APC.
judge images.
Go to the,
Yeah,
change
right.
the style.
Judging.
There you
There we go, now judge.
On comments, am I too wordy? Would you like more? Would like less detail?
Anybody?
Right, okay.
Somebody back here said more.
More?
More?
Okay. Well, it's your time. I don't mind. Okay.
I didn't see the name of this one to tell you the name.
There you go.
Something.
Orb.
Or
Yeah, there you go.
Marbled
Orb.
Orb Weaver.
Sharp, but there's this part here that's bothering me a little bit because it's bright, and the sharpness seems to be here and falls off somewhat. The main thing I think is the angle and the angle of approach, if I want to use those words for photographing this. It's sort of on an oblique angle, and I'm not sure that the best angle for a high impact insect shot like this should have. The reason is that shooting down and somewhat at an oblique angle to this critter leaves a lot of his background in focus or distracting, where you really want to concentrate on them. And if possible, the beauty of the newest cameras, and especially the micro thirds and the mirrorless cameras, is you can hit that flip out screen and you can get down and have your camera right on the sand practically and shoot at eye level with something like this, and then you really have a blown away portrait of an insect. Technically, exposure wise, it's good. I think it should be darkened a little bit in the corners, which means a little bit of vignetting applied. I gotta tell you, and I was telling earlier that my default, and also Scott Kelby's default, whenever I process a photo, my basic default is to darken the corners, the edges, 10%. That's just to keep your eye on the picture a little bit. That's the default, and then from there I may darken more. I think this picture would be helped a lot if it was darkened about 20% also. 21. You shouldn't ask for more comments, we'll be here till midnight.
Don't be shy. I don't bite.
Wow. I'm having a hard time telling if these are statues or real people. Honest to God, I think they're real people. It's unfortunate there are outhouses behind them. They're a little bit distracting. This should have been in the can category, quite honestly. You need to darken this down here. You know, these bright areas, darken this down here. Maybe lighten up the face a little bit. You want your eyes will tend to go to things that are bright, sharp, contrasting. So they're sharp and they're somewhat contrasting, but they're not bright. So my eyes aren't going as much as I want to this eye interaction that Ellen and I could talk about for 20 minutes. 23.
White knuckle ride.
I laugh because I have a couple thousand of these in my library. Whitewater kayaking is cool. It's one of my favorite sports to photograph. Absolutely is. It needs to be a lot tighter for impact. Although you do get a feeling of, the waves and making them small in a picture. You come in really tight, it has much, much more impact. Exposure is good, composition is good, he's got room to move into. Just crop down. Get down to here, put them right about in a box like that. And your picture's going to have much, much more impact. 23.
The dark rose.
It's very abstract. I sort of like the cracked oil painting technique that was used, applied to it. I guess my problem with it is that there's not enough separation between the flower and the background, like up in here, and I want to see, I want to see what's here. Compositionally, it works. 23.
The race is on.
All right. Shot a few of these too. Very nice as far as composition goes. Little bit, tiny bit tight here. Yeah. Almost wish for just a hair more space behind that one. He's a budding, or as we call it, there's a merger with the boat and the edge of the frame. Really good exposure. It sure looks like, I could be wrong, see me afterwards, but I swear you used a polarizer, which I really am a big fan of for shots like this. Excellent depth of field, sharpness is there. 26. I'm going to take that back. Can I change that to a 27? On second thought, 27. It's a hard shot to capture, and they did it well.
The English countryside.
it's supposed to give you a, a countryside feel, I can't think of how to pronounce the word, bubonic feel to it. But there's, it looks like it's too magenta. There's funny off-coloredness to the sky, which I think is a little bit too much magenta in the color balance. Which I think you were trying to bring out the colors here, and it affected this area. This is the kind of shot that I'd say screams for HDR, because then you can get nice detail, bring out the detail in here and in here, and hold the highlights and the detail in here. Compositionally, it's okay. I almost want to see Lassie and her owner over here. I gotta tell you, if you had Lassie there, you'd get the 30. 23.
Lone tree.
Wow. Yowzer, as they say. Very dramatic. I like the composition a lot. I like the angle, the way the lighting is dramatic as all heck. But I think you might have cranked up the contrast just a hair too much. I'm a fan of contrast, but this is pretty high. And you might just take this down just a little bit. Just a teeny bit, the highlights just a hair. 27. Very dramatic photo though.
That doesn't look right.
Okay.
Seven-Mile Bridge.
Okay, I see what you were trying to do, which is you were trying to frame it and make the bridge, what's basically a pretty boring looking bridge, more interesting. And it doesn't come off, it doesn't work. All this up here is unnecessary. And the framing is very dominant, because of the color, the sharpness is right here. The sharpness isn't on the bridge. And I'd say, I'm not sure that this is that the subject matter itself is that photogenic. Maybe in different light, maybe with a storm coming, maybe at night or at dusk, with the car lights lighting up the guardrail. It might be an interesting picture. Also, I would think about when you're shooting something like this, making it a long, narrow, wide panorama kind of image. 19.
Folding America's flag.
Wow. These, of course, you guys have now heard me talk about this too much, but these bright spots in the corner are pulling my eye away. The picture itself right in here is just incredible. But I've got to knock down the score a little bit because of this, and I don't, I would think about even totally cloning it out by taking a section of this and replacing that with something from over here. 28.
St. Mary's of the Angels.
Okay. It's one of my favorite subject matters, architecture, and especially architecture of all churches. But it's tilted. It seems to be tilted. and it's leaning a little bit to the left. And I just demonstrated to Patty that just with one button, autocorrect, in Lightroom you can often straighten that right, it'll automatically straighten that right up. And that's a big to do because I'm sort of like leaning to look at it. And it's extremely well done as far as depth of field, the exposure, the subject matter having interest, but it's crooked, and it needs some auto alignment issues done to it. Also, I would tell you, I think about making the pathway a little bit more visible, so you can easily walk up to the altar by following a path, more so up to the altar. Near miss. I mean, you're on the right track. 23.
Limpkin.
It's a good shot of some wildlife. The pose is good. The sharpness on the bird, it looks pretty good. Although I'm wondering if the focus didn't grab here, because it doesn't look quite as sharp as it maybe I'm thinking it could be. But it needs some post-processing work to really separate out the bird more from the background. The bird is blending in just a little bit too much. 25. And also crop it right here. Boom. You don't need that bottom right there.
Ice dunes.
I'm going to retitle this Grunge Ice Dunes. I'm not sure that I agree with the treatment of the picture. You really applied a grungy look, and it's obviously a post-processing grungy look to it. And I can think of several ways that you can do this, but I'm wondering, does it really fit the subject well? Also, the very bright sky up here, from here up, pulling my eye up and taken away from here, I would think that you want to be focused in here, like a circular composition. And it's so high in contrast, and the shadows are so empty. That could be because you were underexposed when shooting it. Because I could see this kind of scene really fooling the camera meter very easily into underexposure. And then I don't know if you applied a grunge look to try to recover that or to build on it because it's underexposed, but it's not working with the subject matter. 21.
A touch of a rose.
Remember when we used to do this in camera, when we were shooting film? Nice. I think it would benefit from a little darkening down here. The treatment is nice, it's pleasant. The subject matter isn't that unique or treated that uniquely that it raises its score above a lot of ordinary flowers. 25.
Smoky Mountain Waterfall.
Okay. Looking at this, I see your eye wants to go here and sort of out, down. So it's sort of an L-shaped composition of the waterfall. And the treatment and the shutter speed chosen to photograph the waterfall is perfect. It looks like a second or 2 or 3 seconds in exposure time, which is great. It looks like, though, you may have slightly overexposed the waterfall. It looks like some of these details are burned out, but because they're smaller in the picture, it's not a big deal. What's more important is all this here, especially being so bright, it's really competing. I don't know that you want this foreground to really be competing, and you want it to be a supplemental part of the image perhaps, to show, you know, it's out in the wild and all that, but it's really competing for attention because it's so bright and so sharp, and it's very, very dominant. You want it to be submissive and a supplementary help to it. This needs to be darkened down a lot. 22.
Holy crappy,
And then pixelated.
which looks terrible.
That's a problem, okay.
Yeah.
I like the title.
St. Patrick's Smile.
This should be in candid. This is a perfect candid kind of shot. It's close. It's cute. I mean, she's a cute girl. She's got a cute smile. Technically, the selective focus works. Problem is, I want to see more of her face. I want to see a little bit more. You're neither in profile or really showing both eyes or both sunglasses eyes. So she needs to be either turned towards you a little bit, or you need to totally shoot her in profile. But it's handled well as far as the selective focus, as far as darkening down the edges. There's some nice rim lighting on her. This bothers me a little bit, that this is so predominant and out of focus, this head. You should have hit him over the head with the tripod, got him out of the way. So you could have got more of her. 21.
We'll pose for fish.
It's an excellent, excellent bird shot. Again, I think it might have benefited from just a teeny little bit of vignetting. Just a teeny bit to bring down the edges over here a little. Exposure looks right on, just about on the bird. He's got a nice catch light in the eyes. It's good composition. I might darken the rock down a little bit. These are all minor points. 27. Wow.
Pleasant Ridge Water Tower.
Wow. I like this a lot. Very graphic. Very dramatic. I really like the composition. Of course, you know, when you got great light, you got to find something to shoot it in. And I don't know if this is a composite and this was put in front of the sky or not. I don't care, it works. 30. Tell me later if this was the real sky or you put it in.
Last day of summer.
Yes, press out. This off-color just bothers me. I've never seen that color in real life sky. Not a pure yellow. Maybe it was, but I've never seen it. It's a nice scene. You got two nice leading lines coming in, creating a diagonal.